You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome, or hopefully it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and this show is all about presentations from experts that I have hand-selected from around the globe, people who are influencers and leaders in their field. They come here 7 times a week to present bite-sized lessons to help us be better personally as well as professionally. And with us today is Daphne Diluce, and she is in the house with us to present another fantastic lesson. Every lesson, Daphne, is just writing constantly, consistently. There's so much to learn.
Well, hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Lovely to be here. Another week gone by.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, another opportunity to create wonderful things.
Fantastic. And we do have a second presenter. I see she's just joined us. It's Teuta. Hi, welcome. We cannot hear you, unfortunately. Oh, no. Okay, well, she's trying to fix the technology. Daphne, I am so excited about today's lesson, but every lesson that you present has so much what I call meat to it. It's you really go deep and give people gems that they can actually incorporate into their own lives, personally and professionally. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're very welcome. And the thing is, the subjects that I'm talking about these days, which is really branding, which is actually the heart and soul of your businesses. And what people don't understand about branding is that they actually don't understand branding. And why should they? But my over 30 years of experience now in many global projects, big projects, then I've become an expert because I've had to go deep and high to constantly deliver value to my clients. And now I really love doing these presentations here because I love to help people. And if they can save money, save time, and save pain, then I'm very happy to give out these messages. So that's where it's at for me today.
Thank you, Daphne. Before we begin, what would you say to people who say, oh, don't spend your money on branding, spend it on your website or spend it on advertising? Or what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that if you don't understand the heart of your brand, and if you haven't got your business model and you don't know where your money is coming from, then you'll be going into murky waters. And this is actually the reason I created Brand Clever, because I got so fed up being, seeing people ripped off, and in my early days being ripped off myself, because people always want more money from you. They want more money for this, that, and the other, and then you spend it all. But then when you look, you step back, you actually don't have anything because the ads only came out for 6 times. The business cards become out of date, or you get rid of them. Very little leads. So the thing is, it's about learning how to create value, because to take value out of a business and actually to get money in the bank, you have to build the value first. And this is what people don't understand.
Thank you so much for clearing that up, because people I think they don't see the importance of getting the brand correct before they do anything else, because otherwise nobody understands what your messaging is. Nobody understands who's the audience, who is it that you can actually help. So the branding, I think, is really key.
Yeah, and it goes deeper than that too, because, when you've got if you're one person trying to do everything, because I was actually thinking a lot this week. I'm always thinking a lot. constantly thinking. But here's what really came into the forefront of my mind, because every day on my desk, I get up very early and I stay there very late, and I'm constantly working. So if I haven't called anyone back or they're waiting, it's not because I'm daydreaming, it's because these little fingers are ticking and creating all the time. But then one of the thoughts in between all of this work was there's actually probably 1,000 layers of business. And this is when you go into your entrepreneurial journey, this is something that might be a shock to you, especially if you've come out of the corporate world. Perhaps if you've decided your children have grown up, so you're going to try something, or perhaps you've got your degree and you're deciding you're just going to go for it yourself, whatever the combinations are. But let's just take corporate world for a minute, because in the corporate world, the organizations are built up on actually branded assets. And the thing is, so there's thousands of branded assets and systems and strategies that will be all merged together to make this thing turn around. So there'll be 1,000 salaries to be paid. So the person on receiving the salary, they don't have to do the 1,000 layers of business. They just have to show up and do their business.
Yes.
So this happens when people go into actually to their big idea, that they actually don't know what they don't know. Yeah, so it's no judgment on anyone, and anyone out there that's an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm a raving entrepreneur. I'm insatiable and crazy, and I'm such a hard worker, and I will throw my heart over the parapet and then run after it. And I also do that for my clients. I'm really there for them. But not everybody is built like that. And the thing is, it can be a really scary transition to the point where your business starts to kind of turn over and actually start to produce cash flow. And the thing is, in the beginning, the businesses are they're a liability. They're not an asset, because the cash flow is going out and out and out. And then we kind of can get very wow, even quite seasoned businesses still get that kind of you kind of go cross-eyed and the eyes roll in your head. And I don't know if any of the viewers out there can identify with those feelings, but that happens. It's like, how are we going to meet payroll? How are we going to pay for this? If they don't pay, how are we going to pay? Like a massive chess game. But that is when you're in this kind of position when you have more liabilities than assets. So why branding is so important is that you create branded assets that create value. So then you have assets, not liabilities. And this is what people don't understand. They don't understand that it actually takes sometimes weeks or months to build these assets, because the graphics have got to be right. But before the graphics can even be started, the money model has to be there. What's going to go with the money model? Roles and responsibilities. And then in every business, as soon as you start updating roles and responsibilities, you'll get people who will disappear because they don't want to do the work. And you'll get people that will join you because they do want to do the work. So it's great, because it's a real kind of weeding of the garden, because we want to grow flowers and trees and be able to harvest fruits. So we have to do, using an analogy, we have to do good gardening, fertile ground, good seeds, and then also do, gardening analogy is very good, because the thing is, if you plant an apple tree, you can't get apples in 3 weeks. You just can't. And branding is very similar. You have to kind of it's something that grows, but you have to get the right seed. But when you do, it's like the golden goose. Then it'll keep giving because it's set up right, because it's a value thing. Yeah. The branding's got nothing to do, and this is why I see where I just kind of just get this fixed glaze in my eyebrow. One eyebrow goes up when I hear that people think a brand is the name. Oh, our brand is, the satellite from Mars. That's our brand. No, it's not. That's just a name. That's a pile of rubbish. Where's your business model? Where's your forecasting? Where's your roles and responsibilities? Where's your dream teams? Where are your branded assets? How are these branded assets organized? What are your routes to market? Do you have a website? Do you have how many followers do you have? Do you actually have an audience? Are you actually using the correct language to actually talk to the people, to give them value so you can get value? So you see, branding is so much more. But I love it because, and I love what I do because it helps people, because it helps everyone. It helps people who are going to get like fantastic chocolate muffins aren't going to kill them because some oils and terrible ingredients can really hurt you. And then it can help the baker kind of really bake the right muffin. Yeah. So everyone wins. That's my thing. It's like I like to see, my star sign's Libra. It's like this balance, this has to be fair. I know life isn't fair, but in the things I create, it has to be win-win all around.
Were you born in October?
I am, yes.
Some of my favorite people have been born in October. I always get along well with Libras.
Yeah.
So
when were you? What are you, star sign?
I'm an Aries, the Ram. I'm born in March.
Well, that actually goes with this powerhouse.
Yay! I just want to check with Teuta and see if she has sound, and if not, we'll move forward with your lesson. How does that sound to you?
Fine.
All right. Teuta, okay, so that's not going to work. All right, let's move forward with the lesson. I'm not even going to go to a break. Daphne, are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready to go. If you put the timer up, how long you want me to present today, and then I'll go for it.
15. Well, so let's go, since just you, let me check the time. Let's go for 25 minutes.
Beautiful.
Okay, my timer's only 15 though.
That's okay. I'll know how to wrap it up. I can measure my talking.
Fantastic. All right, here we go. I'm going to go backstage, leave you here, and I'll put the timer up.
Okay, here we go. Well, welcome everybody. So good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are in the world. It's so lovely to be here today, and it's so lovely to have your ears and your attention. And thank you for tuning in. I know myself and Dr. Jacalyn really appreciate you. And it is, the better you is actually all about you. So here we go. So today I'm going to be speaking about brand identity and mergers. And that sounds like a massive mouthful. And so there's different ways to look at this. There's brand identity of mergers. So we can think about how Nike might merge with some maybe Virgin Airways. That's not going to happen, but I don't think so. But that is on the big scale. But today I want to take it down, and I want to make this kind of for entrepreneurs and business people, or even people at home that actually are just running their lives. Because when you look at branding very carefully, we all have a personal brand, and within our relationships, we have mergers. And sometimes people go into mergers where they really shouldn't, like toxic relationships, or I call it one-way loving. That's another one that is not a good merger. So what is brand identity? Okay, well, brand identity is actually the character and form and the delivery of the business. Okay, so what it is. So let's start with brand clever. That's one of my brands. So what's that about? It's actually about building businesses, building brands, and getting them out to market. And they're three very steps, but they're the most important steps. So what is my identity? Well, my identity is I'm a very talented person, delivering deliverables, and I create branded assets that turn into value, then people can actually then do their value exchange. So, and people, any person in the world at any level, high or low, in the middle, or anything that hasn't even been thought of, if they ask me any question, I can answer it, and I can answer it without even thinking about it. because I know my subject so well. I know what brand clever is. I know my big why, and I know what it will do. And it's a power tool. It's very, very powerful, because what it does, it takes away toxicity out of everything. It takes away fear. It takes risk down. But what does it do? It creates value assets. So branded value assets. What is a branded asset? For example, Dr. Jacalyn has a book behind the green screen. That's one of her branded assets. So it's about helping people create branded assets that make a combination of services and delivery to the client. So that's what that is. Now, that sounds complicated, and in some ways it is. But the thing is, when you work on it and you actually get it into shape and step-by-step process, because when you have a business, it's not going to work and convert into sales, and you're not going to have a business that's an asset. You're going to have a hobby that's a liability if you're not careful. And this is what happens to many people. And actually, it can happen to the nicest of people and even the very intelligent people. And it's not because they're bad. It's only because they don't know what they don't know. So let's start. So my brand identity, I'm very, very clear about. Now, yesterday I was working with a young lady who wasn't clear about her brand identity, and she was into nutrition and especially the gut. So the thing is, she is one of those people who have so much talent, so many gifts, but actually her customers don't understand exactly what she does or why she does it or what value they can get out of it. Anyway, by the time we had the session, we had these wonderful ideas to actually have boxes with different names on, with different combinations of treatments in them. So then it's an interactive thing that she can be selling. So a value exchange, but a service and products and services all in a box. So in one session, we got to some great ideas and actually something that she is taking action on now. Because the thing is, it's a good idea. It's a good, well, you have to take action now, not wait 3 weeks, get it done. And many, as you know, my partner is Stephen Ginnan, is Life and Business. And in the office, he shouts loudly. And one of the things he will say is, get it done. He says that to himself too. He's very efficient, but without getting it done and without having a plan, lots of time can go past. So, what is this brand identity then? So let's start with your personal brand and just kind of feel how you feel about yourself. Do you like yourself? Are you using all your talents? In the things that you are doing daily, are they working for you? In your daily routines, how much joy versus how much frustration do you have? Have you got branded assets, or have you got lots of liabilities? Okay, so I know that these questions are already pushing a few people's buttons, and I'm asking you them purely because I want you to feel, because you have to feel it to fix it, to create it, to move forward, to make it better, to innovate, to create. And another thing, I just want you all to remember that it is possible to make amazing businesses, no matter what state any of your businesses might be. And the businesses that you have now that are really good, it's possible to make them really fantastic. I always say I take things from good to great to wow. And then what we want to do is 100x the wow, because it's all possible. It's all about strategy, creation, and timing. Actually building assets that actually are going to work. So the thing is, you can say, well, okay, my brand identity, why is that so important? Well, the thing is, it's very important how you're showing up in life. And this is the same for business. It's very important how a business is showing up, because actually that's the first thing people see. And the thing is, it's like so important to start to find your value within and really make sure that your self-esteem is nourished and nurtured every single day. Because there are many of us, well, all of us, we have such amount of fortune, and we're so blessed in this world. We have air that we can breathe, we can move around, we have the sun, we have the nature, we have the world. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what gifts we have just by being alive. Okay, but the thing is, we have to go a little bit deeper when we're thinking about opening businesses or starting relationships, because it actually will come from us. It will come from our drivers, what our values are, what drives us, what our beliefs are, what our subconscious and conscious thoughts are. And this is very important to brand identity, because there needs to be a clarity. So my challenge to you all is just take a little piece of paper and just write 5 sentences to describe your brand, whether it be personal and in the business, in 5 sentences, what your brand identity is. And just do it and see what you learn from it, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know what you're thinking if you don't take some time to be quiet and try. And this is really important. Now, another thing with this brand identity, people want to earn money, so they start doing things to get money. But that's the wrong way of coming at it, because if you do things just for money exchange and there's no value and you have no passion, and it's not even doesn't make your heart sparkle, as I say, then it's going to be like a firework. It can go like, look amazing, then it's all gone very quickly. This is why this brand identity is so important, and important to identify what it is. But the thing is, any great brand, the person who's actually creating it and running it and leading it, they have to be really in tune with their own personal brand identity, because it will show up in your business. So, for example, if you have a pet shop and you're allergic to cats, that's going to show up. If you have a pet shop and you don't even like animals, that's going to show up. So it's about aligning with your greatest talents, your skills, and also your character. And this is another thing too. If you're quite introverted and you need to take your time to do things, then you certainly wouldn't want to create a brand where you've got to be the face of the company and deal with contracts and people wanting everything every minute of the day. That wouldn't work for you at all. And so the thing is, people find themselves just in things and they don't know how they got there. So I would like you all to kind of ask yourself some questions. With what I have in my life now, how did I get here? Was it a choice? Was it a strategy? Or did I end up here? And for that great dream that I had when I was a teenager or a young woman or a young man, or even now, you could be, 85 and have a dream. How far away are you from your dreams? And the thing is, I want you also to remember, when I talk about dreams, I'm not talking about it in some kind of woo-woo way. It's just like everything around you is created first by somebody's daydream. Like the phone you're looking at, the computer that you can touch right now, the seat that you're sitting on, even the house or the flat or the apartment or the bus or train, whatever it is you're sitting on and in, it was somebody's daydream first. So dreams are not just dreams. Dreams are your creative mind that forms a picture first. And then you take that creative idea and then you bring it into form. So the thing is, dreams are so important, and these visualizations are very important. So I've only got a couple of minutes. Well, I've got another 5-6 minutes left, but this little bit I want you to think about, well, if I am going to create a new brand, or I am going to refresh my existing brand, or I'm going to give myself a brand makeover, my personal identity, then perhaps start with yourself first. So start with looking at, how do you feel? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And how far are you away from that dream? And then a lot of people get into such busyness in life, and then they don't do stuff. So you have to make time to do stuff. You have to stretch time, stretch your imagination, and actually show up and do it. But even if you've only got one day a week or a morning a week, or even if you on the way back home, you go to the library for 90 minutes to work on something for yourself, you carve out that time and it's a start. And that's a good idea to do. Now, I don't believe in excuses. I really don't. I am very compassionate and fair and caring. But the thing is, if something's coming up, speak it. If you have a problem, let people know early. If you want something to happen for yourself, give yourself time, organize it. But first of all, it comes from these daydreams and these thoughts. And these things all start to form your brand identity. It's actually, first of all, getting clear about who the heck you are and what you want and where you're going. And without doing that first, you can't build all this fantastic stuff. And be very careful how you're showing up, because you need to be showing up as the real deal. And if you're not the real deal, well, you can practice until you are, but at least be organized and give your best and do your best all the time. Yeah. So I'm talking about brand identity and mergers. So if we're looking at personal brand and personal brand identity, the brand is going to grow through relationships. Even when you pay people, that is still a relationship. As soon as you put the money down and you pay it, or you accept that money, your relationship has started. And without a successful relationship, these things don't build. So it's so important to be working with people that you like, know, and trust. And trust, once trust is broken, is gone forever in my book. I've never seen anybody's trust be broken and then it be mended. It can be very bruised, but you'll never get that person's trust back. So it's important that you really look at the people that you're dealing with and who you're doing business with. And another thing about this kind of brand identity and mergers, it's you have to really do your research for what is true, because somebody can say something that isn't true about someone else and it can do a lot of damage and it can stick when actually it's not true at all. So you have to kind of look behind things. And the thing is, don't ever ask anybody for advice unless they've actually at the top of their game and doing it or have done it. Because I see many a wonderful idea and many a wonderful business ruined because of what he said, she said. And sometimes our closest people can actually shoot us in the foot. And I remember there was one young man that I was helping with, I was helping him to find a second business. And we found actually 5 businesses that he could do, which he'd all be passionate about and all would work. And his wife said, "But I don't want you to do that, because you wouldn't be spending time with me or our son." And he was so upset because he was doing it for her and the son and himself to have a better life. But that just kind of took the wind out of his sails. So although it was meant, like the wife wanted more time with him, and she meant that in a loving way, she didn't realize that how toxic that was. Because if you're not supporting your man's dreams or you're not supporting a woman's dreams, it can change from love to toxicity. So it's really important to have people around you that are going to support you. And if people don't know enough about what you want, then perhaps it's a good idea that you find a way to really express to them how important it is. Because if you've got someone who you're living with or around that's always giving you negative comments, saying, "Oh, well, this hasn't happened yet. Oh, well, but they're not a high flyer in that particular subject," please don't listen to them. And this is another thing with your brand identity and your mergers. Merge with great people. It's all in the relationships. Find great people that inspire you and who have done those things or are interested in those things and have high standards. And the last little bit before I wind down now is just like, every time that you are wondering what to figure out in your life and business, just raise your standards. And you automatically will get an upgrade and success by doing that. Never compromise and never lower your standards. Raise your standards. Many a time I have been told to get off my high horse. And my answer to that is absolutely not. I will get a bigger horse. And it does not come from arrogance. It comes from my experience of hard work and knowing. And I know that if I settle, if I don't work hard, if I don't put the hours in, if I don't make that model as brilliant as it can be, if I don't really nourish and care and nurture everything I have and everything that I do, then things aren't going to work out as well. But when I do the right thing and I do my best, then I will get the best and more. But that's just the way they're my values. So it's a good idea to check out yours. But even though I'm afraid of heights, I'm still will be on my high horse. But that high horse is not an arrogant horse. It's a strong horse, a workhorse, and somebody that's not afraid to go the extra mile to help anyone. Anyway, so I'm going to bring my presentation to close today, and I hope you've enjoyed a very abstract and different discussion or talk or broadcast on brand identity and mergers. If you'd like to know more, you know where to find me. Bye for now.
I love that about the horse and the high horse. That's great. That's great. Fantastic. I just want to see if Teuta's voice is back, because she is. Are you with us? Oh, we can't hear you. So sorry. So sorry. Okay. Anyway, technology is what it is. So it's no worries, but we're sorry we can't hear you. So that was a great lesson. Lots of gems in there, and a lot of things that I could personally and professionally relate to what you were saying as a new business owner, entrepreneur. A lot of the things that come up, and people reaching out to give you advice, or people trying to knock you off your horse, or people judging your horse. So I really appreciate all of that.
Yeah, and it's really important, because it's important that we actually become very observant of what's going around us, because actually when we are creating new businesses, it's like our baby, right? It's our thing, and it's so important to us, and we're investing in it. And also too, we've got lots of whys and wants behind the whole thing. So of course it's very easy to react when somebody does criticize you, but it's about creating the ability to have, I call it, a wider bandwidth, and just listen, but don't really let it go in, because you have to know better. And this is where this high horse comes from, because being on a high horse, you have a higher vision. You can see so much more, as if you're just down and you're just reacting, and you actually believe somebody who hasn't even set up a business, then it sends your nervous systems and your emotions into turmoil. And that's being human again. It's hard being human. It really is. And we have to learn to be human, and we have to learn how to cope with being human, and how this humanness is, especially and creating businesses comes from higher mind. It doesn't come from our reptilian brains. And that's another thing to really understand, because this is where the great people that have created the most incredible businesses, they're not running around in fear and reacting from their reptilian brains. They know that it takes higher mind. And then when you think about somebody like, Einstein, yeah, the guy was not running around in the reptilian mind. He was like high consciousness, and an inspiring person that was. There were many people, and actually I always say, well, look to the great people from the past. How did they do it? What were they thinking? How were they feeling? And this is really important. And all of us can access it, but we have to it's a bit like, you really wouldn't go and join in a rugby scrum. Do you have you have American football. Okay, so I'm going to use American football. But in England, we have football, which is different. And then we have rugby. I really like going to Twickenham to watch rugby, by the way. But you wouldn't actually go into a football game in America or a rugby scrum unless you actually knew how to play the game and had the right kit on, because it'd be a mashup. You get totally annihilated. Oh gosh, can't imagine what could happen. But so many people go into business without any protection, without any thought, without even knowing the game, without even figuring it out. So it's just a little reminder to please make a plan before you start.
I was thinking to myself as you were talking, it reminds me when you're on the highway and you see one of these big souped up trucks, or maybe you see an RV, and then you have a little sports car lowered to the ground, and the person sitting high up can see exactly what's going on, for miles ahead in the traffic, and the guy or the girl in the little car, they can't see above the car ahead of them to even know what's going on. So that's kind of the analogy that I was getting.
Yeah, and it is. And also too, it's good to kind of really start to actually observe things and people watch and situation watch, because the guy in one of those great big trucks that can see everything, and he in his cabin, he can sleep in there, he can watch telly, he can live in there. The little girl in the little, she'd be freezing. She couldn't survive in that little thing. She's so unprepared. So it's not just me. This is kind of the universal law. And that's another thing. It's a good idea to learn what the universal laws are and go with it and surf with it. And don't try to create the new wheel. The world is created for good reason. So we have to surf through life in the world. We can't, if we start fighting against it and saying it's not fair and we can't do, and blame and get into toxic relationships or even provide one, it's not helpful. It'll only end up hurting you.
Yes, that is so true. And I would love to have people reach out to you. I know you always add so much value. We used to get a lot of engagement during the show. So I know that people are out there watching. Any questions you might have for Daphne right now, we'd love to have them. Otherwise, you can reach her at her website, or you can email her. Right, Daphne?
Yeah, DaphneDiluce.com. Yeah. So
and for the people on the radio, it's just DaphneDiluce.com.
Yeah, Daphne at DaphneDiluce.com. I'm the only Daphne Diluce in the world, so you can Google me if you get stuck.
That's pretty amazing.
Ask Jacalyn. Yeah, it is. It's a very unusual thing, but I am an unusual person. But it took me a long time to realize that. And that's another thing with this brand identity, why I'm so passionate about it, because there are so many wonderful people out there who feel that they aren't wonderful, and that's wrong. There are so many creatives, there's so many wonderful people, many forms, many personalities. I just encourage people to come forward and be. So this brand identity is like really important. And it's also powerful. And if we just look at your brand identity for a minute, Dr. Jacalyn, it's just like, you are somebody who is a role model, and you're there on your high horse, which I will make higher and higher in a beautiful way. But the thing is that people can come to you, so people can be broadcast with you. They can give presentations. You show and tell. You give people a platform with a voice. That's so powerful. And this is a much better job than you being in the corporate world. And I'm so happy that you stepped out of it, because you benefit so many. But it is hard work, But it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes in the next 3 years. It's exciting.
It's definitely exciting, and I'm glad that I left, and I'm glad that I had a plan, and I'm glad that I worked with a coach who helped me come up with a backup plan. And now I'm glad that I'm working with you and Stephen to see where we can go to the next level. It is very exciting, but to your point, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for all of us, and it's not something that you put in 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. It's ongoing. It's over the weekends. It's holidays. It doesn't matter. It's full on.
Exactly. And this thousands layers of business, they're absolutely there. But I think it's important also to not to get so overwhelmed that you never actually do anything. Because when you actually start doing, one thing at a time well, before you know it, you've got this lovely momentum and you've got all these assets suddenly. So, you just start off with one asset, and then before you know it, you've got maybe 25, then you've got 250. And then you grow and you create. And then it's when you do it that way, it's very easy to upscale. So, and that's a whole other topic. I love upscaling businesses.
So it sounds like a great topic for next time.
Yeah. Well, I would say yes, we'll do that next time. And then another idea comes into my mind. But anyway, I hope this was a good presentation for everyone today. And I think, just to simplify it and on an end note is, to be happy with yourself, nurture yourself, get to know yourself and manage yourself well. And if you do that first, that's a great place to start. Then the next step is to do that with the people that are in your life, that you have amazing relationships. And then by the time you've got to the next step, knowing people outside of those relationships for, collaborations and business ventures, the world that you will have created will be a wonderful one. So isn't that exciting? Why wait?
It's very exciting. Thank you so much, Daphne. You are always a wealth of information and a bright light, and I just really appreciate you. Again, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, and who should contact you?
Who should contact me? Well, people who actually are interested in creating their brand or actually getting some advice to look at their business, because sometimes it's just helpful to get some clarity and direction about what they've done already. So it's not about me changing anything or that they have to sign up and work with me for years. It's about actually getting a very, very clear eye and a professional opinion of, their assets. Have they got any assets? Are these assets going to turn into assets for value exchanges and bringing you something good? So that kind of person would be good. And you people that are watching me, you know who you are. If you would like to contact me, then please do.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here again today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Me too. And I'm so sorry our lovely Teuta is not here today. Teuta.
She's here, but there's no...
To next time.
Thank you for watching the show and trying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, bye-bye, ladies. Right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, another fantastic show with Daphne Diluce. Please do reach out to her, Daphne at daphnedeluce.com. And as she mentioned, she's the only Daphne Diluce, so you won't have any problems finding her. But the spelling of her name is DAPHNEDILUCE. All right, coming up, we have the variety show, which had been on holiday, and I brought it back. So today is our first variety show at our new time, coming up in just over 15 minutes. And our guest is joining us from LA, and her name is Goth Astrology. So that should be a fantastic show. And right after that, we have fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. And Diane Floyd-Bame is my co-host. And our guest is Sandy Adams from Cruise Planners. If you are interested in traveling, you want to know what are the rules and regulations across the world, what's it like to take a cruise now, Sandy is coming back, and she always has some great information and tips. And by the way, she does a lot more than planning cruises. She recently went on a cruise, and she's going to tell us all about her experience and what to expect as the world opens back up. After that, we have another A Better You and a first-time presenter on our team, Dylan Levitt is joining us, and also Mr. Hyatt Ives. And we wrap up the day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 9 p.m. British Summer Time, with presenting Pet Psychic Amina, and our guest is A.J. Waniger. So if you want to know the times of our shows, all you have to do is go to drjacalyn.com. Across the top, watch our shows. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which I would love, USA Global TV, and just click subscribe, and then anytime our show goes live, you'll get notified for our 15 to 18 shows a week, and you can engage with our audience, with our guests there. So please do join us on YouTube. Thank you so much to Daphne Diluce for being here again and presenting information that's relevant and important to all of us. We'll see you again soon in 14 minutes with The Variety Show. Bye.